Oh my goodness. Hello. Welcome everybody. Welcome. All right. So I'm 𝗪𝐄𝐃𝐃𝐈𝐍𝐆 and we're just going to go right into it today. So for those who do not know me, I'm 𝗪𝐄𝐃𝐃𝐈𝐍𝐆. I am the owner and lead planner at Celebration Events Management. We are a Canadian-based boutique firm. We cater mostly to African Canadian brides. And today on 𝗪𝐄𝐃𝐃 Wednesday, we are going to be talking about a topic that until recently was not popular. Until recently was something that a lot of people just said, no, I don't need that. Why do I need that? But well, I would say thanks to COVID is now a hot topic. So we're going to be talking about wedding insurance today. Wedding insurance. So it's going to be very, very, very interesting. So now I am going to get right in to today's topic because I want to respect your time. Also, just so you know, this is going to be recorded. So you can find it, of course, in my IGTV. It would also be uploaded to YouTube because this is a topic that I believe will help a lot of people. All right. So thank you to those who are rejoining. I had a little bit of a hiccup there. So let's get right into it. So today's topic is wedding insurance. Now, like I said earlier, because of COVID and a lot of things that have been happening, people are now I'm getting a lot of questions actually about wedding insurance. So I thought, why not talk about it? Now, if you're thinking, what qualifies me to talk about wedding insurance? Not just because I am a wedding planner, an event planner. My background is actually in insurance and risk management. So for those who do not know me, I actually did read insurance in the university. So I did graduate with insurance, and I'm also a risk manager by profession until now that I'm into wedding and events planning full time. So this is a topic that I personally enjoy teaching. So I'm hoping that I'll be able to break it down into bite-sized nuggets that you'll understand. Now, for those of you who will be watching this later, feel free, if you have any questions, there's anything else that you're not sure about, to email me. My email is email hello@celebrationevents.ca. Okay, hello@celebrationevents.ca. If you want to ask me a direct question, that'll be adeola@celebrationevents.ca. Okay, so let's get into it. Okay, thank you to those of you who are already here. This recording is being recorded live today through Instagram, but it will be uploaded to other platforms later. So thanks to my live viewers today. So now let's talk about insurance itself. So there are different kinds of insurance, as you know, but today we're going to be focusing on just weddings. And there are several different kinds of wedding insurance coverage as well. Okay, now the best one, because what I found is that most insurance companies will then customize their own insurance package and give it a name. So for example, now for those who are watching this, I'm based in Canada. So a lot of the things I'm going to be saying will be applicable more to Canadian couples, but also it does apply to the US. Now, I'm not sure about anywhere else in the world. I know that brides in Africa, the rules are different there. The UK, the rules are slightly different as well. So this message is more for the Canadian and US couples. All right. So now for the best kind of insurance should cover cancellations or postponements due to so many reasons that we'll get into. Okay. Reasons such as even your vendor deposits for no shows, rush alterations, replacement of your bride's dress, stolen and damaged goods, gifts. We're going to go into I'm going to break it down for you, okay? So stick with me. This is going to be interesting, but again, I promise it won't be too long. I think maximum we should be wrapped up in 20 minutes. Okay, so now it's very important that you know what exactly is wedding insurance. So wedding insurance, typically, it protects a couple's investment from circumstances beyond their control. What is your investment? Basically, your financial investment in your wedding. So wedding insurance will protect you by reimbursing you for expenses that you have incurred. Also, it also covers you in the event that you get sued or you are found liable for something that you are now legally liable for, even though it's not directly your fault. So we'll get into that as well. But the quick example of that is if somebody slips and falls during your wedding, right? They're dancing and then they suddenly flip over, break their back, break their neck, and then they sue you. And of course, they'll sue the venue as well, because according to them, they sustained that injury while at your wedding. So wedding insurance will cover you as well for such legal liabilities. Okay, let's move on. Now, what about things like if your limo driver does not show up to come and pick you up, and then you have to quickly book a replacement limousine? Wedding insurance will cover you for things like that. Okay, sometimes when those replacement vehicles are 3 times the price. Yes, your insurance will cover you for that. What about if your wedding venue, God forbid, burns down the night before, and now you have to find a new venue the next day? Wedding insurance will cover you for that as well. If your wedding business goes out of, if your wedding venue goes out of business a month before your wedding, and now you have to find another venue. Things like that. So it does cover, it's called insurance for a reason. It covers unforeseen circumstances. So I know the question that a lot of you are going to be asking is COVID covered? We'll talk about that later. Stick with me. Okay. Now we talked about what is wedding insurance. That is, honestly, this is just, I'm giving you 101 today. So that's a quick recap. Okay. Now, because I promised you that I don't want to take time, if you have questions, just put it into the question box below. Okay. Now, why should you get wedding insurance if you're getting married? And also for those of you who are planning to do an event. So let's say it's not a wedding, but it's more of a celebration that you're going to be spending a lot of money. You're going to spend 100,000, 50,000. Can you insure it? Yes. There's insurance for social events as well. But today we're going to focus on weddings. But just know that most of those coverages also apply to you, except of course wedding dress. So now, why do you need to get wedding insurance? I want you to consider, I'll give you a few scenarios. Okay, I'm not trying to scare you, but today's topic is something I feel that we need. Unfortunately, it's not really talked about in my community. And it's, meanwhile, in, a Caucasian wedding, a Western wedding, it's a no-brainer, right? They get insurance. But it's like pulling teeth. I have to explain a million times over to my clients, to brides and grooms, why you need insurance. So today, I hope this video will help you. Now, why do you need it? Look at the scenarios. Imagine if Jack and Jill, they spent a lot of months planning their winter wedding, right? They're getting married in, let's just say November. And on their wedding day, they suddenly realize, just as we had about, I think 3 years ago, there's an ice storm. And because of the ice storm, they can't get, the venue is inaccessible. The guests cannot arrive. The vendors cannot do their work. What happens then? All your money is gone down the drain. So that is one of the reasons why you need insurance for things like that. It's a natural disaster. Natural disasters are covered. Certain natural disasters are covered, like ice storm, earthquake, like certain things are covered. Okay. So that's why you need insurance. Okay. What about scenario number 2? Let's say that everything is ready. We're happy. We're getting ready. Your wedding planner has contacted all the vendors. Everybody's saying, yeah, we'll be there by 9 a.m. We're good to go. Suddenly, the day of the wedding, the planner gets a call, or you get a call from, let's just say, the videographer. And the videographer assistant says, oh, there's been an accident. There's a problem. The videographer just sustained a car accident. I'm sorry. He's been rushed to the emergency. He cannot show up. What do? You have to hire somebody, right? Or maybe that videographer is connected enough to call another friend to help them. What if that videographer is not able to speak or even call somebody? That's where you need wedding insurance, because the cost to replace that service will be covered. Okay? Scenario number 3. Imagine if right before the ceremony, everybody's good. You know how the ladies and the girls, they're all having fun and all that stuff. Let's just say that there's a bridesmaid who is not very happy with the bride and likes the dress on fire. Okay, maybe that's extreme. Okay, let's just say that you're walking down the aisle. Oh, no, not down the aisle, because we don't want that to happen. Let's say that, you're getting ready and then suddenly somebody was smoking, something gets heated up, the dress now has smoke damage, or catches fire or whatever. You need another dress. The ceremony is in 2 hours. Somebody has to run to another bridal store to get it. All of that, the cost of replacing the dress, the cost to go and get the new dress, all of that is covered under what? Your wedding insurance. Okay, so I've given you about 3 scenarios of why you need wedding insurance, right? Now, so I'm sure you're thinking, oh my God, I can give you like honestly 50 more scenarios, but I respect your time. Let's get into it. Now, when should you get wedding insurance? When exactly should you consider, oh, you know what, we're getting married. When is the right time to buy insurance? Honestly, the answer is the sooner, the better. But I know that some insurance carriers, they have a deadline of at least 3 days to your wedding. But honestly, the sooner, the better. Because if something like I've described to you happens, so for example, the example of the venue, if the venue goes out of business or the venue burns down a month to your wedding, and of course it will take more than a month to rebuild that venue, you need to find another venue, right? So it's better to secure your insurance as soon as possible. If your wedding is in 12 months, 18 months, you can get insurance now. If your wedding is in 6 months, you can get insurance now. If your wedding is next month, you can get insurance now. If your wedding is on Saturday, you can get insurance now. I hope I have made my point. So I think the only restriction about that is destination weddings. You're required to get your insurance a little bit earlier. But again, we'll get to that. Okay, so what you need to understand is that once you have wedding insurance, it's a sense of security. It's a sense of, it's peace of mind. You know how they say you cannot buy peace with money? Some peace can be bought with money. You know, if you want that financial peace of mind about because listen, weddings cost as much as buying a new car. And I mean a really nice car, not just a car you pick up from, a second-hand car from the lot. No. Weddings cost as much as a down payment for a house. So if you are going to insure your house, you're going to insure your brand new Mercedes, I personally advise that you also insure your wedding. Okay, now let's get into the money talk, money. So how much does a wedding cost? How much does it cost? Because this one that they're talking about, replacing the dress, replacing the vendor services. Oh, they're going to reimburse us to get a new venue. It must cost thousands and thousands of dollars. Honestly, again, I'm talking Canadian dollars, okay? A basic wedding insurance policy that covers your loss of photos. And again, I can see questions coming in. I'll check everything. That covers loss of photos, your video attire, your present, your rings, deposit, all of that, like a basic, because there's different levels to this kind of insurance. There's, So a basic one, honestly, it can cost you anywhere between $150, yes, to about $550. It's not that expensive. So with $150, you can secure peace of mind for your wedding. So it all depends, and what factors apply when it comes to the price. It depends on the amount of coverage that you want. So like I said earlier, general liability insurance. General liability covers your personal injury. It also covers your commercial general liability, which covers other people who are coming to your wedding, your vendors, your guests, all of that. If somebody gets injured on site, it covers you when somebody's trying to sue you, all of that. Now, imagine the minimum that I recommend is $1 million liability. It goes anywhere from $1 million, even up to $5 million. Now, general liability for $1 million for coverage in Canada costs between $150 to $200. Can you imagine? So for $200, you have secured yourself. So if Uncle John decides to have too much to drink and he slips and falls and he sues you, you know that you are covered for up to $1 million. If he now cannot, for whatever reason, maybe you're supposed to fly out to a new job the next day, whatever, you're covered. So it's not that expensive, okay? Now let us talk about the actual coverages. What really does wedding insurance cover? Because I'm sure, even though I've given you examples, I want to break it down for you, okay? Like I said, I'm going to save this video, so I want it to be as detailed as possible. Now, I want you to understand that when it comes to problems, insurance covers unforeseen circumstances. It doesn't cover something that you know already. Oh, we know that on Saturday at 1 p.m. So this is no, it covers things that you're not sure of, okay? So for that reason, it's kind of blanket, but still limited. Let's get into it. Okay, now insurance coverages are in different sections as well. Okay, they have sections, and there's also deductibles. So if you buy $1 million liability insurance, usually there'll be a deductible. Let's say the deductible that you go for is $500 or $1,000. So what that means is that, let's say uncle fell down and he just chipped his tooth, and to fill his tooth is just $300. Guess what, sweetheart? You can pay that $300 from your pocket. But if uncle fell down, broke his leg, now he needs physio, he needs an x-ray, he needs to be bedridden, and he also now decides that he can't walk anymore, he wants to be paid for the rest of his life, you have up to $1 million to be able to cover that liability. Do you get it? Anyway, so that's for liability. Also, liability, there's something called host liquor liability, which is also a different coverage that you can add on to your insurance. Now, host liquor is usually required by a lot of venues if you are the one catering the wedding by yourself. So, for example, if you're renting a Hall A in Toronto that's allowing you to bring your own food or your own drinks, most venues will ask you for a liquor license. A liquor license is different from a host liquor liability policy. Host liquor liability policy is similar to the general liability policy I explained earlier. It's just that this now relates to things that have to do with alcohol consumption. Okay? All right. Second thing I want to talk about that is covered under your wedding insurance is the wedding venue. Of course, you need a place to get married. So the insurance can cover the costs that are from unavoidable cancellations, such as damage or inaccessibility to the site. Like I said, if there's an ice storm and you can't reach the place, or there's a fire, or even if your reception hall is just not able to honor your booking for whatever reason. Like I said, even if they closed, like you just got there like 2 weeks to the wedding and you realize that the doors are closed, they've changed ownership, everything is gone, and you're like, what do we do, and you can't find them. Insurance will cover you for that. Yes, it will be. So, but it's important that you read your policy, okay? I'm giving you generic things here. If there's like an electrical outage, there's a surge and it's not safe to have people at the venue, insurance will pay for you for the cost to actually get a different venue. Okay, a replacement venue. Okay, let's move on because there's still a lot to cover and I'm looking at the time. Now, your wedding cake and your flowers, believe it or not, they're covered. What do you mean by my wedding cake and my flowers? Any direct physical damage or loss to your wedding cake or your flowers, as long as it's within 7 days of your wedding, is covered. So let's assume that my darling friend, I'm not going to say one of the amazing bakers in Toronto or the GTA makes this beautiful cake. Now, wedding cakes are made days, they don't just make it that morning. So let's assume it's been made, it's beautiful, all of that, and then a day before the wedding, something happens. God forbid, let's say the bakery goes up in flames, or while they are transporting the cake to the venue, it falls down and it's all, right? Yes, you can quickly order a replacement cake and your insurance will cover it. Flowers as well, any damage. So let's say they came, and now if it's a big production, a lot of florists start days in advance as well. So imagine if they are coming, let's say you're having a beautiful tented wedding where they have come to do installations, all of that. And then the day before the wedding, everybody shows up and there's been hailstorm or there's been something, right? And the whole place is destroyed. The floral arrangements, everything is destroyed. Insurance will cover the cost because, of course, the florist now has to get replacements, everything. So the cost to replace that is also covered. Your wedding stationery. Any physical damage or loss to your wedding stationery prior to your wedding. This includes your invitations, your RSVP cards, your menus, all of that. So let's assume, again, it's all done. The stationer has already prepared it. They've asked you to come and pick it up. You've picked it up. And then you kept it in grandpa's car. And unfortunately, grandpa's car, something happened, right? lost or damaged, the cost to replace it is covered. Now, rented property. As we know with weddings, there's a lot of rented property. We have to rent things, oh my God. So if you have hired, maybe, let's say the wedding planner, and I don't do that, but let's say you hire somebody to go pick up rental things on your behalf, right? Like go pick up the tents or pick up tables, chairs, stage, all that stuff. And God forbid, there's a terrible 14-car pileup accident on the 401, and then all these beautiful urns and things that you've rented are broken and damaged. The rental company will want their things back, right? Insurance will cover you. Vendor no-shows. Now, if your vendor, and it's now when we say vendor, essential vendor, like your caterer, your officiant doesn't show up. Again, it just has to be something that would affect your wedding. Yes, if they fail to show up, and now, say officiant A was supposed to do the wedding, we've already paid him. Now we have to quickly get some officiant B. Of course, we have to pay officiant B. Insurance will cover you for that. Sickness or injury. Now, sickness or injury to the bride or the groom or anybody essential to the wedding that would affect the wedding. So now we can't go ahead anymore because this terrible thing happened, not COVID. Terrible thing happened, and all of that. So now, sickness or injury, I know that most insurance policies is layered up, so you have to read your policy, read the fine print to know what kind of sickness is covered. Pre-existing conditions are not covered. So let's say, for example, somebody important to the wedding has cancer or diabetes, and then they didn't have an episode the day of the wedding. That will not be covered because that's a pre-existing condition. They're talking about something that you cannot foresee, something you do not anticipate, you don't know about. Suddenly, again, insurance, I'm sorry, but when you're talking insurance, it's not a positive, it's not something you say and you're laughing. It's a lot of, unfortunately, bad things. So you're thinking ahead. So God forbid, let's assume that the groom suddenly slumps and he's having like a, heart attack or whatever. That's something that was unforeseen. Now we have to cancel the wedding. Then insurance will be able to reimburse you for that reason. So that's what we mean by sickness or injury, not a pre-existing condition. Next thing, weather. So weather conditions that can affect the wedding adversely. Now we can't have this wedding because there's a storm going on. It's terrible. It will be to the detriment of people's life and safety if we go ahead with the wedding. That will be covered. Photography. Again, I'm trying to breeze through this to respect your time. Now, some policies will pay you to actually retake your photographs after the fact. So imagine if we've had all the wedding, it's beautiful, and then we realize that the whole, what they call it, the film or whatever is damaged. Can you imagine? I'll kill that photographer. But anyway, we have to retake all our wedding photos. So, or maybe it was, I don't know, it's stolen. Thank God we're in a digital age now, so a lot of things are uploaded. But in the olden days where, say, the album, all of that is stolen or is damaged, insurance will actually cover the cost to have the photos redone. So it doesn't mean that you have to do your own wedding. But anyway, yeah. Same as videography as well. When a videotape that has been produced by a professional videographer is damaged, maybe they use faulty materials, all of that, whatever it is. Usually to retake the official video and to restage it and try and take it, up to a limit though, that usually will be covered. I know there's a lot of things that people don't think about that, but honestly, for that, like I gave you the range for $200 to $500, this is an expense that I would advise that you make. But when you're making this expense, don't make it with the mindset of, oh, if nothing happens and I get my money back. No, you're paying for the peace of mind. Okay, let's move on. Your gifts. Did you know that the gifts that you receive will be covered as well? Yes. So the way it is, whether they're mailed to your home or they're handed to you on your wedding day, any valuable items and gifts, you can actually cover them as well. They're covered for direct physical loss or damage, but it has to be within 24 hours prior to and after your wedding. So what that means is, let's assume that you're getting married on Friday and people bring gifts Thursday. And then, God forbid, the house goes up in flames for whatever reason. The insurance, you can actually try to, get back to people who gave you gifts, and the insurance company will reimburse you for that. Yeah, it's covered. Your wedding attire. So I gave you an example of the wedding dress. So I won't dwell into this very much, but it's not just fire. If it's lost, if it's stolen, is damaged, all of that. Even the financial failure of the bridal store, believe it or not. So if you bought a wedding dress and you're supposed to pick it up on say you're getting married on Friday and you're supposed to pick it up on Wednesday, and you get there and the bridal salon is closed because they've gone out of business. Well, that is something that you did not foresee. That will affect your wedding. The insurance company will reimburse you for the cost of a new dress. Okay? Honeymoon cancellation. This is actually a coverage that you can get as well. Some wedding policies include it already. Okay? And some it's an add-on. So you have to check. And again, I'll give you examples of insurance companies when we're wrapping up this video. So honeymoon cancellation is also a coverage under wedding insurance as well, believe it or not, because honeymoons can be very, very expensive. Yeah. So they will reimburse you if you suffer any loss or the non-refundable cost of travel due to a cancellation of the actual wedding. So let's say the wedding is not going to happen anymore because of an insured loss. So because of that, you can't go on your honeymoon. Then they'll reimburse you. You get? Yeah. So loss of deposits as well. So they will pay you for any non-refundable deposits made to any vendors that you've booked their goods or their services. So you've booked the cake, you've booked the photographer, you've booked all these people, all of that. And then now there are no shows, or there's a major, like I said, there's a major issue that the wedding cannot happen anymore. They will pay you back for your loss of deposits up to the limit of the insurance. I have to keep saying this. Okay. We talked about attire. So now let's talk about personal liability a little bit. So personal liability covers you for bodily injury or property damage, which is caused by an insured loss or accident, which must occur during the course of the wedding. So I gave an example of uncle drinking too much, falling down, breaking his back. Maybe one of your ushers, your vendors, your wedding party slips on their dress while walking down the aisle. It could be anything. It could be anything. It could be grandma. Anything that you're personally liable for, you and your groom or you and your bride, because of something that happened during your wedding or as a result of your wedding. Again, this can actually rack up. That's why I always advise that you purchase at least $1 million of personal liability. And I've told you how much it costs. It's not that expensive. Between $150 to $500, you can get your whole insurance policy, including your personal liability. Your rings. Now, the ring part, you have to check. Some of you have a home. You already own a home. Under your home insurance, you should have jewelry coverage there as well. So be careful, because if you purchase wedding insurance, they want your, and then say your rings get missing or stolen, your home policy should kick in first before the, anyway, those are technical details. Let me not go into that. Okay. And of course, wedding cancellation. They will reimburse you for any deposits you've paid, any contractors or vendors you've paid because of any unexpected cancellation of the wedding as a result of an insured loss. So I've said that a few times, if you notice, and I keep repeating it. So now that we've talked about what wedding insurance covers, what does wedding insurance not cover? Like, okay, is it going to cover me for everything under the sun? No. So the first thing I need to tell you is that your wedding insurance is not going to cover cold feet. It's not going to cover a change of heart. If you decide that you don't love each other anymore and you're not getting married, your wedding insurance is not going to now reimburse you for the entire cost of the wedding. No, it doesn't cover change of heart. It doesn't cover emotional pain. It doesn't cover, oh, I don't like you anymore. All that stuff is not covered. We're talking about financial loss here. Okay. It doesn't cover your watch, your jewelry, your precious stones, your pearls, grandma's, something you inherited that you are going to wear. No, it doesn't cover all of that. Again, that's why I said read the policy. Your rings, your engagement ring could be added on as an endorsement to your policy. Your rings could be added on, but generally, jewelry, precious stones, all of that is not covered. Okay? Natural disasters are mostly covered, like I explained to you. But guess what? The ongoing COVID-19 pandemic is not covered. Yes. Why? Because insurance doesn't cover known losses. It has to be an unforeseen loss. So we already know that there's a pandemic going on. So they're not going to, if you now buy insurance, so let's say you're getting married in 2021, you know the date, and you're not like, let's really buy insurance so that if there's a third wave, fourth wave, fifth wave. No. If the cancellation is because of COVID, that is not an insurable loss anymore. It's important that I say that, okay? Yes. So business interruption losses that are indirectly, not directly affected by the wedding. So for example, let's assume that you got married. Let's say you got married, and then because you got married, a certain supplier who you didn't use for your wedding decides that they're not going to be using your business. Anyway, if now, let's say you're earning 50,000 a week, and now that you're married, they decide that, because you're married, you're going to reduce your pay. All those kind of loss of earnings are not covered. Okay? Relating to you getting married. No, they're not covered. Okay. So I'm going to just quickly go into things that I want you to consider. I've said a lot already, but I want you to understand that every insurance policy and every wedding scenario is very, very different. Okay? The insurance are not very, very different, but they're still slightly different. Some companies have coined their insurance to suit what they would offer you. Okay? So you have to be sure to talk to your insurance broker or the insurance company. Again, I'm not saying talk to your wedding planner, because again, I have the insurance background. I understand risk management doesn't mean that your wedding planner will. So even at that, I would advise that the onus is not on your wedding planner. It really is on you to communicate with the insurance provider. And then once you get the policy, read through it. If you don't understand something, talk to them. Let them explain the nuts and bolts to you. But I can tell you that it's value added for you to purchase insurance. Okay. Also, I want you to understand that for those of you who are doing destination weddings, yes, you can purchase wedding insurance for your destination wedding. It's just that it's for it to be the legally binding ceremony must take place at the destination location. So for example, you cannot say you want to purchase destination wedding insurance. You're getting married in Mexico when you've actually gotten married here in Toronto, but you're just going there for a party. No. If you're going to buy insurance for your wedding in Mexico, then you must be getting married in Mexico. Do you understand? And then you make sure that the insurance you're buying is a type that covers worldwide as well. A lot of companies will cover that. Just make sure you read the fine print. Okay. And also the limit of liability. I've explained what liability is to you. That's personal injury, property damage. You remember? Good. So the limit of the liability that you're buying, usually it ranges from $1 million to $5 million. You can buy more as well if you feel like you're having a celebrity wedding or something where the people come in their net worth alone. So that's up to you. But usually it's from 1 million to 5 million. So again, I will recommend the minimum you buy is $1 million. I know there are policies that offer less limits than that, 250,000. But if you're in Canada or the United States, if somebody's going to sue you because they got injured at your wedding, I can assure you the legal costs alone. Legal costs alone. So always buy at least 1 million in coverage. Okay. So I promised that I was going to give you examples. Someone is laughing because I said 50,000 a week. Yeah. I said I was going to give you examples of where you can buy insurance. Yes. When I teach, when I give. So I will give you the dates. I will give you the juice. Okay. So first I'm going to cater to my Canadian couples. So my Canadian couples, the first company that I always recommend is PAL Insurance Canada. That's PAL Insurance Canada. And the reason is because PAL Insurance is a subsidiary of Lloyd's of London. And Lloyd's of London is like the godfather of insurance. Like that is where it started. So they cover worldwide. Okay. Not only that, they have a special package called the Wedding Guard. Now, the Wedding Guard, I love it because it's customized to weddings. So you don't need, honestly, you can even get it yourself. Just go online to palcanada.com. If you're Canadian, it covers the whole of Canada. So go in there and get your policy. You can get a policy today. It's all online. Okay, I shouldn't say you can get a policy today. You get a quote today. You get the pricing, everything, same day you put everything on. If there's anything special or wonky, they don't understand, they'll email you back. So palcanada.com. The second one is Easy Insure. easyinsure.ca. Easy Insure is an insurance agent, so you can check that. The third one is an insurance broker. They also specialize in weddings, and it's called Mitchell and Will Insurance. So Mitchell is MITCHELL and Will Insurance. So their website is mitchellwill.com. Check that out. Now, for my US people, my US friends and followers, I would always recommend 𝗪𝐄𝐃 Insurance to you. Check out 𝗪𝐄𝐃. 𝗪𝐄𝐃 Insurance is your go-to. Check them out online. There's also Travelers Insurance. Check them out as well. Okay. They would help you out. So go online, Google it. They should be there to help you. There's a few more. Again, I said Lloyd's of London. Lloyd's of London is worldwide. So, but you just need a syndicate wherever you are based. So find out online. Check for PAL Canada. Check 𝗪𝐄𝐃 Insurance. Check Easy Insure. Check Michelle and Will Insurance Brokers here in, actually, I believe they are somewhere in the GTA. And they'll be able to help you with your insurance needs. So I hope that you guys have enjoyed this. Quick recap. You need commercial general liability as well, because it's usually, well, with PAL, it's lumped together, but some policies, your wedding insurance is more for the fiscal loss of deposits, all of that, things that have to do with your wedding, like your dress, everything I've explained. I won't go into it again. But the add-on is your general liability, which is very important. So please make sure you purchase general liability when you purchase your wedding insurance as well. Yes, thank you all. So that's my spiel. That's my spiel about wedding insurance for today. I've gone through a lot of things that are covered. There's still more, there's still more details. But again, like I said, depending on the coverage that you purchase, there might be some policies that have even extra things that they'll throw in. For example, I know there's a policy that wouldn't cover your engagement ring, but then you have to add it back on as an endorsement. Okay. I hope you've enjoyed today's edition. Do you have any questions for me? If you have any questions, if you think of any later, and again, for the links that I mentioned, I'll put it down in the comments. But if you think of any questions later, email me at adiola@celebrationevents.ca. I would love to help you. Like I said, this is what we do. We try to just make your life easier. So wedding planning is our passion. Wedding planning is not just about just walking down the aisle. There is so much that goes into it. And we just want to make sure that you're financially secure. You're aware of what you need. So if you have any questions, please contact me. If you're having trouble with your wedding planning, contact me. If you're a wedding professional that you just need advice or you need help as well, contact me. That's okay. All right. Thank you all so much. I hope you enjoyed today's session. All right. So I will give 2 minutes for any questions. Let me go through. Oh, thank you all, everyone who joined. Thank you, Auntie. Thank you, Auntie Bukum. Okay. Temile, yes. You're saying that it gives you peace and even happiness, yes, I agree. Insurance gives you peace. Thank you. Oh, Anita, thank you. Yes, Anita, the officiant. Oh, who's the best provider? I hope I answered your question. Yes. So for me, PAL Canada. Because PAL Canada is a one-stop shop and you can do it yourself. Oh yes, great investments, peace of mind. Yes, insurance is a necessity. COVID proved that. Insurance has always been here. Insurance has always been available, but people just didn't see the need. But it is important. Thank you. Oh wow, amazing set. Thank you all so much. So, oh my goodness, can you imagine? There's like 5 questions. Oh geez. Okay, will insurance cover you the entire wedding if it's called off because she finds out that because she found out that our fiance got someone pregnant? No, because that's emotional. It's not a financial reason. I mentioned the cold feet part, so no, unfortunately, that will be excluded. So Shola, no, it would not be covered, Shola. Yes. All right. There is another. Okay. I think I've touched on the other things that are there. Yeah, I've touched on the other things that are there. Thank you all so much for your time. This has been Weducation Wednesday with Dami Adiola. And I hope that you learned a thing or two about wedding insurance. And I hope that you do, especially if your wedding, honestly, if your wedding is going to cost you anything over 40,000, get insurance. I shouldn't have said that because really anybody should, but if it will cost over, then get insurance. All right. Thank you all. Bye. Have a wonderful, wonderful night.